So this is a new episode, that I'll call short and sweet. It's about something somebody said to me very recently on the ex-Muslim subreddit, which is you can't know, and he said it with umph. You can't know that hell doesn't exist, and that's bullshit. I was replying to someone saying that hell doesn't exist, and somebody replied to me, "You can't know that hell doesn't exist." Oh, I remember where it started. Somebody had said something like they were referring to their fear of hell, and or they were asking us, how is it that you don't fear hell, something like that. And I said, oh, right here. Oh, I didn't. Yeah, what I had said was you can't fear what you believe doesn't exist. And they replied, you can't know hell doesn't exist. You can be afraid of things even though it's completely unreasonable. That's what phobias are. What's incorrect about what he's saying here is, or part of it, is he's talking about what is unreasonable rather than what you believe to be unreasonable, or your methods of judging what is reasonable or not. So I said, sure, I know. Just like I know there's no demons or Santa Claus or souls or any other superstitions. So when he says you can't know hell doesn't exist, that's the same as saying you can't know Santa Claus doesn't exist. All superstitions are nonsense. I do not fear what I know doesn't exist. Oh, I remember this now. So I did a podcast with Zorro, which I haven't published yet, where I talk about this. Even if we don't know, we shouldn't waste any time being afraid of it. No proof of hell. We know what happens after you die. We turn to dirt. I guess I could talk about how we know these things. How do we know there's no Santa Claus? How do we know there's no soul? How do we know there's no demons? How do we even know what constitutes a superstition or not? What is an unfalsifiable theory and what should we do with them? So first I want to explain what a falsifiable theory is. A falsifiable theory is a theory that has these two elements. It presents itself as an empirical claim, meaning that it claims to affect nature. But it, or not but, and it does make empirical predictions, which means that it's possible for empirical evidence to be found and contradict the prediction. So every scientific theory counts here as a falsifiable theory. And, you know, that's why we do experiments, to try to falsify them. An unfalsifiable theory is a theory that, like the first one, like the falsifiable theory, it presents itself as an empirical claim, meaning that it claims to affect nature. But unlike the other one, it does not make empirical predictions. And that means it's impossible for empirical evidence to be found and to contradict the prediction. Examples: jinn, evil eye, miracles, prophecies, signs of end times, Santa Claus, Bigfoot, black cats cause bad luck, God, not all the versions of God, just the ones that claim to affect nature. What are some other examples? Comment below. So, what should we do with these types of theories, these two types? For falsifiable theories, we should try to find empirical evidence to try to refute the theory. And if we find that contradictory evidence, we recognize that to mean the theory is refuted. And if we find that the evidence agrees with the theory, we treat the theory as the best theory we have until we find a better one. So, like Einstein's relativity. For unfalsifiable theories, they are already refuted. It doesn't make sense for something to affect nature while simultaneously there's no possibility to check that it actually affects nature. That's a contradiction. What do you think? For those of you that disagree, please explain why you disagree. For those of you that don't understand what is the point of all this, please say so, and I'll do my best to help you understand. And for those of you that have questions, please ask. And I'm giving some credit here to the person who discovered this concept, falsifiability, Karl Popper. What he was doing was trying to figure out the difference between science and pseudoscience. And another name for pseudoscience is mythology. Did we get any comments? Good ones? Yes, I agree. Karl Popper stated sort of like the obvious. This was only like 70 years ago, and this is what, 400 years after the first kind of official scientists doing any science work.